Welcome, everybody. I know it's a crowded room. Trying to make room for yourselves out there. Standing roll. Easy, don't still crowd. Welcome to the hearing on the Committee on Government Operations. Myself, Vice Chair Gabbard. Tuesday, March 28th, 3 p.m. Conference room 225, Hawaii State Capitol. We're also streaming this via Zoom, and if for some reason we get interrupted and anybody cares, we'll come back at a later posted date. With that, we'll move on to SCR 169. This is requesting the Procurement Policy Board to amend and clarify their admin rules relating to small purchases and allow expenditures of goods, services, or construction. I can't even remember construction being less than $5,000 to be awarded in any manner that purchasing agency deems practical or convenient. We have first up, and thank you for joining us, the State Procurement Office. Come on up. Sorry.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair. Bonnie Kanakui for the State Procurement Office. We stand on the written testimony and just ask for a clarification. The resolution asks us to, ask the Procurement Policy Board to submit a report, and we're not exactly sure what are we reporting on. If you're asking for department policies, the number of procurements under 5,000, we're unclear what it is the legislature is expecting us to submit.
Well, points well taken. Thank you so much for being here. That is all we have on SCR 169. Vice Chair, do you have any questions of our procurement officer?
No, I'm good, Chair.
You're good? Yeah, I think, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. We kind of but we appreciate your testimony of outlining the Procurement Circular 2012-04 instructions. I think I shared that with the author, and so given that, I think that we'll probably take a favorable disposition on it and then get to decision making. Okay. Next up, we have SCR 168, Charlotte Carter Yamuchi, Director, let's say Legislative Reference Bureau. It's already been a long day. Well, I know, so I'm saying we gotta wait till the song. We don't have those awesomely controversial bills that you do in PISM. Yeah, please don't. Okay. This one's on the feasibility of a continuous legislative session. We had written testimony from LRB pointing out some issues with the trying to carry out the reso, and that's all we have on 168. And considering there's nobody here from the LRB to get testimony, we'll move on to the next one, SCR 10. SCR 10, we again have LRB. They are offering comments, and for the audience's edification, that one is having the LRB study the potential positive and negative consequences of implementing term limits for members of the legislature. Okay, consider, and Andrew Crossland, an individual with written testimony and support. And that's all we have. And there's nobody in the audience wishing to testify, and there's nobody to ask questions of. We'll recess for decision making on the resos. Welcome back to the Committee on Government Operations, 3 Senate resos for discussion today. The first that we heard was SCR 169, asking for the clarifications on the admin rules for expenditures less than 5,000. Per the testimony of the Procurement Office, there already is a circular that is published detailing the steps of that, but they're also going to look at potential improvements this summer. So talk to the author. He agrees. We're gonna defer the reso for this year. Next up, SCR 168, 194, Legislative Reference Bureau to conduct a study on the feasibility of a continuous legislative session. As the co-sponsor of it, I think it's a good idea for examination, but we recognize LRB's concerns. So we're going to take their recommendations and we're going to narrow the scope of the study to a summary of laws of other states that provide for the continuous session of their legislature and the policy reasons for those state laws. Questions or comments? If not, Vice Chair, SD1.
Chair's recommendation is to pass SCR 168 and SR 194 with amendments. Chair McKelvey.
Aye.
Vice Chair votes aye. Senator San Buenaventura.
Aye.
Oh, she's here. Okay. Senator Wakai.
Yes.
Senator Owa is excused. Measure passes.
Thank you. It's scaring me.
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
Later on in there. Let's see. Next up, SCR 10, SR 8, requesting LRB to conduct a study of the potential positive, negative consequences of implementing term limits for members of the ledge. We appreciate LRB's testimony and we concur with them that the joint project on term limits, which was a project by NCSL and CSG with noted legislative scholars, was done over 20 years ago in 2004. And so we're going to change the resolution to call upon the NCSL and CSG to look at possibly reconvening the joint project on term limits for a modern look at the issue from their end. Members, questions or comments? If not, Vice Chair, SCR 10, SR 8, SD1.
Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. Of the members present, are there any no votes or reservations? Hearing none, the measure passes.
All right, thank you. Please let everybody let everybody out slowly. We're crowding them. Aloha, everybody. Welcome to the joint hearing between Government Operations, Energy, Economic Development, and Tourism. One reso on the joint agenda today, SCR 172, SR 127, urging Public Works Division of Department of County and General Services in collaboration with the authority, Stadium Authority, to procure a concessionaire to design, build, and operate and maintain the new Aloha Stadium facility. Okay. First up, we have late testimony from, let's see, Department of Accounting and General Services.
Chair, Vice Chair, stand on our testimony.
Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate the lead testimony. You also have individual testimony from Andrew Crossland, and they are in opposition. That's all we have on this reso here. Members of either committee, are there questions of the Department of Accounting and General Services?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Please. What is, where is that stairs up there? Using concessionaire, whatever that, what is that?
Concession.
What is that? Is that the vendor or what is that? Is it an entity? No. What is that?
Aloha chairs, vice chairs, members of both committees. I'm Chris Kinimaka, Public Works Administrator for Department of Accounting and General Services. My understanding of concessionaire is, as you would think about it, the Aloha Stadium had concession agreements for food services, for example, and for whatever type of kiosks they might arrange. For ourselves, we actually have to do a little more research into how the designation of concessionaire affects the procurement. My understanding is the Stadium Authority's prior approval to enter into concessionaire agreements was for the food services, and that it has since lapsed. So we'll have to look into that.
What is the sunshine date of eliminating the Stadium Authority?
I'm not aware of a sunshine date.
Oh, just checking. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
That's a trick question.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
So is this a concessionaire basically like a P3 to find somebody to co-build it or co-run it, or?
That's my guess, and that's what it's looking for, is one entity to do all of the
To
design,
design,
build,
construct, operate, and maintain the new stadium?
Yes.
Right, this is what usually P3s do.
It includes that, yes.
Okay, are you prohibited from doing something like that?
Are we prohibited from?
So you can do this, you can do concession agreements, you can get an entity to design, construct, if that's what is in the plan?
So my understanding is under 103D, we can do design, build, operate, maintain. And as I mentioned, we'll just have to look into how concessionaire agreement is different.
So do we need a reso like this?
Supportive for communicating the intent of the legislature.
I'm sorry, say that again.
This is supportive of communicating the intent of the legislature.
It's urging you guys to do this.
And we're still working with the administration on getting the full agreement of all the parties, but we're committed to pushing forward what best we can for the stadium, the district, and the community.
So at this point, there is no plan to whether the state's gonna build it or whether there's gonna be a third party, a P3, concessionaire?
Even if you have a third party P3 or concessionaire, it would still be administered by the state. So we wouldn't cough up all rights to the district and the stadium, for example. It would be under the management
Right,
of
but
the
the
state.
question was, do you folks have any idea of where we're headed?
Well, you know, DAGS has been involved with this project for quite some time, and up until recently, we had set forth the DBFM model, which is a design, build, finance, maintain model. However, there's been a change, as was discussed, I think, previously, and I think DBED and others have made mention to this, that would be changed to a different model, and it's looking like it's going to be the DBOM model, which is described in this resolution that you see here. So what's going to have to happen is that the DBFM, the RFP was essentially built around DBFM. And so we're going to have to go back, and if we are in fact going to work with the Stadium Authority to move forward with this, as well as DBED, we'll have to work with them if that's the direction the administration wants to take, to redesign the RFPs to be DBOM instead of DBFM.
So when would we have a clearer picture as to when these RFPs are going to be put out?
One of the key components we haven't heard yet, in addition to the administration's position, is also that of the Stadium Authority, because they have sole jurisdiction over the development that happens in the district. So we need the administration and DBED and BNF to agree on the funding, and we need the Stadium Authority to agree on the plan. So we are supportive of all of the information they need, but we're still waiting for the final decision.
And any anticipation when that might be?
Next board meeting is this Thursday, and we'll see where this takes us from there.
Doesn't sound like there's anything solid. Thank you.
Sure.
Sorry, involved in the testimony.
So the concessionaire, when they,
Wait a second.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, Senator
Sorry.
It's okay. So I think, I think I know why there is a confusion as to concessionaire, the phrase. Because usually when we refer to concessionaire, it's the people who sell the things within the, so like in a shopping center, the developer would ask a concessionaire, they will show them an empty site and they're supposed to build and design their own site. I think from the title, it appears like what Senator Kim was referring to, like a P3, that they would actually be involved in designing the entire project. And so it sounds like, I don't know, I would like to have a more definite resolution as to whether or not, and maybe more in the terms of the way Senator Kim was referring to, by requiring them to have a plan, either a plan to do a P3 and do a drop dead date as to whether or not P3 is off the table where it's the entire thing, or to whether they do the design and solicit the concessions within the design to create this entertainment, the stadium entertainment district. And since it doesn't sound like you folks aren't doing either right now, right? Either soliciting for, because the plans keep changing, or whether or not you folks do have a plan and now it's time to solicit the partners to help you fund this plan.
That is correct. We are in a holding pattern until we get more definitive direction.
And so my request is that the resolution not die, but to change to be amended to require them to, not require them, to request them to come up with recommendations, either to do the P3 and make a decision as to that, or a design and then solicit, or I don't know. That's my request, because the three senators in back here are confused.
Well, that's why we had this discussion.
Thank you.
So I think her response was yes to all of the above, but
I agree. And I'll send Kim, yes, go ahead.
One other question. So is it the Stadium Authority that will be running this project, or is it DAGS?
So the Stadium Authority is the client owner and the person or the entity that sets the direction. DAGS is just a procurement arm that services them as our client.
Okay, so you're just gonna assist them with doing the procurement and stuff. So it's really the Stadium Authority that makes these decisions and not you guys.
That's
And
correct.
really not the administration, right? Although they can put pressure like they do, or they say bully the entities to perform certain things the way they want it.
Exactly.
But it's really up to them, right?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Yes, by all means.
So, Chris and Keith, isn't the value of this resolution just to convey the Senate's sentiments towards going public-private partnership and going D-bomb? Because we've seen with the previous administration, they want to go design build. And I think the governor has embraced the idea of D-bomb, budget and finance has embraced it. Senate's embracing it. But really, this is a message to the House, right? That they are somewhat reluctant. They still like the design build approach. So what we're trying to convey here is that the administration and the Senate are on board with D-bomb. House, it would be smart of you to join us. And that's what the value of this resolution is, correct?
Yes, that's correct. That we understand your intent.
So why are we shrinking the stadium? And then another question is, the second one is that, don't get me wrong, I don't have any faith in the Stadium Authority, because previous stadium went to heck. I mean, you know, they cannot just say it was about weather, it was lack of maintenance plan, and nothing was being done. Even during the pandemic, when everybody wasn't working, they still was working. How come? They charged my school $37,000 to use the stadium. I asked them where that money went, right? So all of that money that we had put in, and even the swap meet and everything else, K. Fernandez, none of that money went to what? Maintenance? I mean, there was nothing being done to the stadium. The hitting problems I can understand, but the overall problem of the stadium?
To be fair, Senator, we never put the money in. The administration and the legislature, they kept asking for the monies to repair the stadium, and the question was, do we repair it? Do we get a new stadium and not spend the money? So that's why none of that was done, to the point where it got to the point where it was not safe enough to inhabit, because the repairs were never done, and the repairs was in the hundreds of millions of dollars.
So they should have listened to Frank Fossey and brought it out to Kapolei, Makakilo area. Right, Senator Gabbard? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Along with the conclusions, sir?
Yes,
And Zoo,
and I'm kind of Hawaiian, Nakocho Senator.
Okay, we got some good discussion on this. We're gonna, oh,
Sorry.
sorry.
So what is your guys' role in this?
We provided all of the legwork, the outreach, coordination, the education, and information to bring us to the best plan possible. We provide that information to the Stadium Authority as our client, to the administration also, you know, as our supervision, to really provide all the input they need to come up with the best plan. We've also done a lot of outreach with the industry and the community, so we bring their voices to the table as well. So we're really working on collaborating and trying to put forth the best product we can, right, for our client and the community.
So I guess what I'm asking is, you know, as a stadium at 25,000 seat capacity, you know, Bruno Mars sold that place out 3 nights, and I believe it was a 40-something thousand seat capacity. So did you guys do 2 models of what it looked like at this level, what it looked like fully enclosed? I mean, only because
I'm looking at if you're marketing a stadium at the end result. If I'm marketing and I'm trying to market, I don't know, football or maybe soccer, I would think that the attachment behind it would be an extra soccer field to have warm up. Maybe you gotta have a meeting, maybe on meeting convention room with one hotel. I mean, we always piecemeal stuff, and I think we failed miserably every time we piecemeal. So have you guys had two components of full build with all attachments, 25,000 seat stadium, 50,000 seat stadium enclosed, and then one financial projection if X, Y, Z had encompassed that, along with kind of keeping that venue and their guests and football players, whatever you call it, there?
Yes, Senator, we actually have. We've done models from as low as 15,000 up to 35,000. We haven't done the full 50,000 because our marketing shows that very few stadiums at our level would benefit from 50,000 seats. To answer also Senator Favella's question on why are we shrinking the stadium, it really depends on the model. If we do a DBOM with the district, we probably won't have to shrink it as much. If we had to do design build and only spend 350, you'd shrink the most, right? So we've done all of that range of modeling. And so depending on the procurement and the funding available, we have recommendations for the stadium authority on at least initial size and how you can add to that in the future if need be.
Can you see that when you have?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? If not, we'll do a brief recess to see what we're gonna do. Okay, recess. Welcome back. Joint hearing on one lively reso, SCR 172. The two chairs and all of the members having conferred on the resolution, our recommendation is that we're going to move this forward as a Senate Draft 1. We're going to remove the word concessionaire from the resolution. We're going to urge the Stadium Authority to do the procurement with DAGs and Public Works, design, build, operate, and maintain. And we're going to basically want them to have the RFP done by June 30th, 2023 and submit a report to the legislature. Yes.
Can I have the RFP done by June 30th? But RFP takes a little bit longer. You want them to share the plans with us?
Yes, share the plans with us.
RFP by the summer?
To the legislature.
It'll be report to the legislature by June 30th, 2023. How's that? Okay, sorry, this is a collaborative effort here.
We'll give you some time.
Well, we have a free discussion again.
Yeah, no, that's the recommendation, everybody, and we'll of course make sure that when we do draft the committee report in the reso, that the whereas reflect the conversation and decision we today. Okay. Any more questions or comments? If not, Vice Chair, SCR 172 for GVO, Senate Draft 1.
Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. Chair McKelvey.
Yes.
Vice Chair votes yes. Senator San Buenaventura.
Aye.
Senator Wakai.
Yes.
Senator Owa.
Aye.
Measure passes.
Thank you, GVO.
Thank you. And then Committee on EET, same recommendation.
Chair McCoy?
Aye.
I vote yes. Senator Fukunaga? Excuse. Senator Kim?
Aye.
Senator Favela?
Aye.
Chair, your recommendations.
Okay, thank you guys. Appreciate your help on this.